Alright, we're going to take some time here to talk about putting together your memoir, which you need to do exactly as it says on the slides that you have upcoming. Before we start, if there's any parts of the memoir that you need to print, specifically I suppose the final draft, that needs to be done right now and quickly. Go to the computer, get on, print to the computer lab, get it printed out, and get that done. And then gather all the pieces of your memoir, whether they be in your notebook or if they're in your in-class folder, get them all together now. Alright, you should have all the pieces of your memoir with you right now. I want you to put them all on the left side of your desk, and I want you to remove everything else from your desk. So you have the memoir papers on the left side, nothing on the right side. As we kind of complete each task, we'll move things from the left to the right side. I don't want anything else in the way, any books, any water, pens, pencils, all of it off, only your memoir on the desk. Alright, here's the first thing. Grab your brainstorming. You had both main ideas and details. Label them with your name and the word brainstorming. And if you have more than one, if you did main ideas and details on separate pieces of paper, make sure you staple them together, but make sure both of them have your name and the label brainstorming on them. As I finish describing each slide, if whoever is running the classroom right now could just, or a student, anyone, just push pause, and I want to make sure that we do not move on to the next slide until everybody is done with the slide that we are on. So until we're done with, everyone is done putting this piece of it together, please do not move on to the next slide. Okay, so your brainstorming part is done. Move it from the left side of your desk and put it now on the right side of your desk. The next thing you're going to do is get all of your organizing together. It's just those 2 column notes. Should be double-sided. Make sure that your name is on it. It's already labeled as organizing, so that's it. Once you have that done, make sure you put it right on top of the brainstorming on the right side of your desk. Alright, next it's the rough draft. You're going to gather all the pages of your rough draft. You're going to label all of those pages with your name and the title rough draft. Staple those together. You're only stapling rough draft papers to rough draft papers. Do not staple them to your organizing. Do not staple them to your brainstorming. Once your rough draft is labeled and stapled together, you may place that on top of the organizing on the right side of your desk. And please remember to pause the slides and wait for every person, every single student in the class to be done with that step before we move on to the next one. Thanks. Okay, this is a big step. We have a bunch of things to get together. You need to gather, and in this order, your self-revising answers, your first revised draft, your peer revising answers, your second revised draft, and your third revised draft. Those are all going to go in a pile with the self-revising answers on the bottom and then working up from there, so you have the third revised draft on the top. Label each one of them with your name and the title. So self-revising answer should be labeled self-revising answers. Your first revised draft should be labeled first revised draft. Right? These are the titles that I'm looking for as I go through and score your memoir. If you don't title it correctly, I might not know that you have it there and you might lose points. So the titles are in front of you right now. Make sure that each piece is labeled correctly. Once you have put them all together into the order that you see in front of you and they are labeled with your name and title, you may staple them all together. Please do not staple your revising work to your rough draft, do not staple it to your organizing, and do not staple it to your brainstorming. As soon as you have that all together and stapled as a little packet, you may place it on top of the rough draft on the right side of your desk. Alright, now we're ready for the final draft. So gather all the pages of that final draft, make sure it is labeled with your name and the words final draft, and then staple those together. Again, staple final draft paper to final draft paper only. Do not staple your final draft to any other piece of the memoir. As soon as you have done what's on the screen in front of you, you may place that final draft on top of that revising packet, on the right-hand side of your desk. All right, now it's time to just make sure that everything's put together. So right now on the right side of your desk, it should all be set, it should all be organized. On the bottom should be your brainstorming. On top of that is the organizing. On top of that is the rough draft. On top of the rough draft should be that revising packet. On top of that should be the final draft, and on the very top I want the rubric with your name on it. Once that is all done, and double check to make sure your name is on every piece and that you've labeled everything correctly, you may use a paper clip to attach all the pieces together. Once you have done that, your memoir will be collected as your name is checked off the list. All right, so I know who has handed it in and who hasn't. And then we're done. And then I will show you another video, or whoever's there will show you another video, and we'll move on from there. But your memoir should be finished. Everything should be set. Everything should be organized. It should be put together exactly like we just talked about. And congratulations, you're done with your first major assignment for 7th grade ELA.